Hey everyone, this is Fatal Hacker AJ Raven. I'm here with my recap and review of Animal Kingdom season number 5, episode number 2. And as far as my opinion goes, this was another very enjoyable episode for me. So the episode opens up with basically I think some time has passed because we see that the Codys were able to fix some of the damage that Pope's cousins made in the premiere episode. We see Joshua walking into the kitchen and Pope is working on repairing some cabinets, and Joshua is all dressed up and he's like, wait, Pope, you aren't going to get dressed up? So basically it turns out that Joshua is supposed to go and meet Smurf's real estate attorney, and of course they have to talk about everything going to Pamela and figure out what they need to do now that a whole lot of Smurf's properties are going to Pamela. And Pope is like, you know what, Joshua, I think you can handle this on your own. I'm just not in the mood to go. So while they're having a conversation, a person arrives at the gate, and it turns out that this person is Angela's patrol officer, and he is like, am I talking to Pope? Angela hasn't checked in yet. It's been 2 weeks and I have no other choice but to get the police involved and have her arrested. So basically, I think that this was the writer's way to show that, you know what, Angela ended up using again. And I think that's why she just left the house. And I am kind of disappointed. Even though I didn't like Angela in the previous season, I still kind of appreciated her being around so that Pope had someone to talk to and lean on. But I think in season number 5, it's clear that basically everyone is out of Pope's life. He lost Smurf, he lost Angela, he's on his own, his brothers aren't necessarily giving him the support he needs, and Joshua is clearly not giving him the support that he needs. Joshua tells the parole officer that no, Angela doesn't live here anymore, and I think Joshua is kind of satisfied because Joshua knew. Joshua grew up with Angela around him, and Joshua just knew that Angela was going to start using again. So he's like, you know what, Pope, we should consider changing the locks to the door. And Pope is like, Joshua, don't worry about it, I'll do it. And I'm like, really, Pope? Will you do it? Or are you going to keep the locks the same in hopes that Angela might appear someday? Then we cut to Deran at the bar, and Deran is organizing this charity fundraiser for a guy named Tim, and Tim needs new teeth, and Deran is like, you know what, Tim gets 10% of the house as well as everything that people put into this jar. So while these two are talking, Deran decides to leave, and as he's leaving, his employee asks Deran about Adrian, and he's like, hey Deran, where's Adrian? It's been a while since I've seen him. And Deran is like, oh, he's on this boating trip and he's doing well, he might be back soon. And you know what, I wasn't expecting season number 5 to focus on Adrian so much. I thought that it was a one and done deal, that Adrian is no more and Deran is just going to move on for a bit until he meets up with Adrian again during the series finale. But no, I think that the writers are going to explore what Deran and the rest of the Codys will be going through now that Adrian is gone, because again, Adrian was working with the authorities. So of course the authorities are unhappy that Adrian just disappeared. Then we cut to Pope, and Pope is moping around in the house. He goes to Smurf's room, he misses his mom, he goes into the garage, he takes out the ashes, and I'm like, you know what, Pope, you need to bury these ashes, you need to give her a proper burial already. So we cut to Joshua, Craig, and Deran meeting Smurf's real estate attorney, and this is where she tells them that, yep, everything belongs to Pamela, and they're like, wait, Smurf wasn't doing well, she was on medication, her mental state wasn't healthy, and the attorney is like, not the attorney, the agent, I'm not really sure what her role actually is, and she is like, you know what, that doesn't matter, because when she drafted the will, she was of sane mind. So unless you can really prove that Smurf's mental status wasn't normal when she was writing down her will, then I'm sorry, I can't help you. Everything is going to Pamela. And this is where we get the scene where Joshua is like, hey, what if Pamela doesn't arrive at the trial, at the hearing? And I really like this scene because the real estate attorney, the way she looked at Joshua, She is like, this is a dangerous kid. And she's like, you know what, Joshua, that's nothing for you to worry about, because Pamela has a family. So even if Pamela isn't able to appear at the trial, the money will be passed down to her kids. So if you, and I'm like, she didn't say it, but basically it was her way of telling Joshua that if you're planning to kidnap Pamela or have her killed, that won't work. Okay, then we get a flashback, and this is where we see Smurf. She's checking out this gold jewelry at the store, and I'm like, yup, Smurf is going to steal something from the store. Then we cut to outside of the store, and we see Pamela sitting with the kids. So yeah, Smurf is back with Pamela, and Pamela actually takes away this knife away from Andrew, and she is like, Andrew, give this back before you accidentally hurt your sister. And this is where Smurf decides to take the gold and run away, and she's like, Pamela, start the car, and Pamela is like, okay, here we go again. So the owner of the shop comes out with a shotgun, and Pamela reverses the car so fast that she ends up hitting the person with the gun, and he flies off. And I'm like, okay, Pamela, that was some good thinking. And yeah, they drive off, and you can tell that Pamela isn't happy about what Smurf just pulled. But Smurf, she's just living her life. She's like, yep, I stole this gold, I'm happy. Then we cut to Craig, Deran, and Joshua at the house, and this is where they're just thinking about Pamela taking away everything. They're going to be homeless soon, and Craig is like, why is she doing this, all of this to us? And Deran is like, why the heck did Smurf did anything to us while we were growing up? So the kids are basically trying to figure out their mom's version of love, and Joshua is like, you know what, guys? I looked over the things that are going to Pamela, and what's interesting is that Smurf still has some stuff that wasn't on the list, so we can try and start selling that to live our life for a while. And yeah, Deran is like, wait, Joshua, so you're telling me that you knew about certain assets that Smurf kept secret? And Joshua is like, yup, that's exactly what I'm saying. And Deran, yeah, you can tell that Deran is suspicious of Joshua. I think he has always been suspicious of Joshua, and I wouldn't be surprised if the writers continued this, and there's this big confrontation between Deran and Joshua where they're going to fight. We saw that scene in one of the promotional trailers, and Deran is like, you know what, Joshua, you do what you want to do, whatever you say. And yeah, Deran just leaves, because Deran, again, he is also trying to cope with the death of his mom and losing Adrian, and now he also has to cope with Joshua basically planning something. Then we cut to Craig, and he's going home, and he ends up meeting this friend. Apparently she's a friend of Ren's, and she's like, hey, Ren hooked me up with these substances because I was out, and these rich kids are having a party on the yacht, and the name of the yacht is like Bite Here or Nowhere, or Bite Here or Now or something, with Bite being BYTE, which links to their Silicon Valley persona and interests. So yeah, Craig goes into the house, and he kind of has a disagreement with Ren, because he's like, wait, Ren, so you are dealing again, but maybe consider not dealing right next to our child. And Ren is like, you know what, Craig, you need to chill. It was a one-time thing. I just did my friend a favor, and that friend ended up giving me $5,000. And then these two talk about the yacht where the rich kids are having their party, and you just know that Craig is planning to rob the yacht. Then we cut to Deran, and we get to see Tim, and yeah, Tim is losing. Yeah, Tim needs teeth. I kind of liked how Deran is having this fundraiser for Tim. It kind of links to how Smurf also did certain charitable stuff around town. Deran doing the fundraiser thing, it kind of reminded me of that. Anyway, Pope walks in with the ashes, as you can see behind Tim, and Pope is like, you know what, Deran, we need to give her a proper burial. We need to do this now. And Deran is like, Pope, we need to talk. Why don't you come into my office? And this is why Deran is like, Pope, I understand what you want for Mom, but if you haven't noticed, we are busy. We are trying to figure out how to save our properties and not go homeless, so Smurf's burial can wait. And of course, Pope doesn't like that. Then Craig comes into the bar, and Craig is like, Deran, I need you, I need your help. And Deran is like, wait, I'm busy. And Craig is like, no, it will only take an hour or two. Come with me. Then we cut to Pope sitting in Smurf's car and he's looking at this old picture of himself, Smurf, and Julia. And yeah, Pope is all up in his feelings, and I feel sorry for Pope. He has no one to turn to. Then we get the flashback, and this is where Pamela actually tells Smurf that she didn't appreciate her stealing the gold from the shop, even though Smurf is like, hey Pam, I was going to cut you in. And Pamela's like, no, it's not about that. It's just that I continued doing this, all of these little jobs, and that got me into jail. And when I was in jail, my kids suffered. I think her oldest son's name is Phoenix, and she's like, Phoenix is still trying to cope with what happened to me and me leaving him. And apparently her daughter is in the foster care system, which she still needs to, which she still needs to get back. And Pam is like, Smurf, you need to figure this out because you now have kids. You're not alone, so you need to be there for your kids, especially if you don't want to go to jail. Then we cut to Joshua, and yeah, Frankie is back. And Joshua is like, Frankie, I need a fence. And Frankie is like, so wait, Smurf's fence, Gia, isn't going to work with you in a post-Smurf world? And Joshua is like, Frankie, I just need a name. And this is where Frankie tells Joshua that, you know what? One of the things that really helped Smurf succeed is because she had a network. And Joshua is like, you know what, Frankie, I'm not here for such a lesson. I just need a fence. And Frankie is like, yeah, I'll hook you up with someone. However, I am going to keep 5% of every transaction. Yeah, Frankie is always in her business mind, and she's like, yeah, I'm going to take 5% off every transaction. And Joshua and the Codys, because they are desperate, Joshua is like, you know what, Frankie, I'll talk to my uncles and let you know. And Frankie is like, of course you will. Then we cut to Deran and Greg looking for the yacht, and this is also where they kind of have a conversation about Joshua knowing about assets, secret assets that Smurf kept that they didn't know about. And Deran is like, did you know about all of that stuff? And Greg answers that no, and Deran is like, yeah, but Joshua does. So these two, I think even if Greg doesn't do it, I think that Deran is going to stand up to Joshua, and again, they are going to have some sort of a confrontation about how to continue with this family business. So the two end up breaking into the yacht, and there are three people who are basically playing, I think they're betting and all of that stuff, and they end up putting those three young men in zip ties, and Deran goes to the table in order to see how much money they had, and Deran is like, these are only ones. What's happening? Where's the real money? And the kids are like, wait, you really thought that we would be carrying around that much cash? No, we wager in bitcoins. And that made me laugh, because you know what, when it comes to people from Silicon Valley and people like the three young men in the episode, they would be betting things and playing games using cryptocurrency. The time has changed. So of course Deran and Craig are angry. They're like, yep, now what do we do? So Craig decides to drive the yacht away from the harbor, and he's like, wait, you know what? I think we should get a yacht for ourselves. And I'm like, Craig, what the heck are you going to do with the yacht? So he's like, you know what? I'm driving the yacht. Deran, go and release the jet skis. So even though they didn't get a lot of money, I think they only got $300 or $400. But they still got 2 jet skis, so that's something that they can sell. Before Craig leaves, the kids are like, wait, so you're just going to leave us there? But no, Craig does end up calling the patrol, the coastal guard, and tells them about the yacht needing help. And before he leaves, he ends up emptying a bag of substances on the kids, and he's like, yep, have a happy life. So he's basically framing them, which, yeah, the kids are going to be in trouble when the coastal guard finds them and covered in white powder. But again, they got the jet skis, so good for them. So Pope takes Smurf's car to a garage to trade the car, and he's like, I need a new car. And you know what? I'm not really sure if Pope did this because he's trying to let go of Smurf, or he did this because he didn't want the car to go to Pamela or something. But yeah, he traded Smurf's car for a new vehicle. So Craig and Deran come back to the bar, and this is where Craig is like, wait, Deran? are you staying at the office? And Deran is like, yep, I'm busy. I have a bar to run. So that's why I'm staying here. So basically, Deran hasn't been back to the house he shared with Adrian. And again, I wasn't expecting the writers to talk a lot about Adrian, but I'm here for it because it made for some very, very emotional scenes for Deran. Then we cut to Smurf and Pamela is all ready. She has a party to attend, and Smurf is like, I need you to take me with you. And Pamela is like, wait, so if you come to the party with me, who's going to take care of the kids? And Smurf is like, Phoenix is. And Pamela is like, are you going to pay him? And Smurf's like, just take me with you. And Pamela is like, okay, I take you with me to the party, but you can't go like this. We're back at the bar, and it turns out that Tim was able to get a lot of money in funds for his teeth. And Darren is like, do you want me to keep the money safe for you? And Tim is like, yep, please do. Joshua comes in, and Joshua tells Darren about Frankie hooking them up with the fence, but needing 5% of every transaction. And Darren's like, you know what? I'll talk to Craig about it, but this is something we have to do. Then we cut to Pope, and this was a very, very interesting scene. He ends up going to this burial office, and he's like, my mom bought a plot for us at the property, and I need to bury her ashes. And the woman is like, I understand where you're coming from, but this is not how we do things here. You have to come to me tomorrow. I'm closing up. We need a permit from the government and all of that stuff. And Pope is like, no, I need you to bury my mom's ashes today. And the woman is like, no, Pope, I need you to leave. And at first I was like, is Pope going to lash out at the woman? But no, thankfully he didn't. And you know what? Kudos to the woman, because facing someone looking like Pope with a box, holding a box of ashes and being not necessarily calm, that must have taken a lot of confidence and strength. And she was able to handle Andrew quite well. But yeah, at first I was like, wait, is Andrew going to start hitting his head on the glass door? But no, he didn't. So yeah, he ends up thinking about something else to do with Smurf's ashes. And while Darren is at the back of the bar, he's basically doing something. I'm not really sure what. I can't remember. So the person who was working with Adrian, he comes in, and I was like, uh-oh. I think we kind of expected that if Darren does help Adrian run away, the authorities are going to come looking for Darren because they knew that Darren and Adrian were boyfriends. So the cop comes in, and he's like, you know what, Darren? I understand that you were in love with Adrian. Adrian's eyes, you can kind of recognize them in a crowd, especially from airport cameras. So yeah, the authorities know that Adrian ran away from the country and Darren had a hand in it. And the cop tells Darren that, you know what? At first I wasn't interested in your family and what you were up to, but now I am. So yeah, so the Codys still have to worry about Pamela, and now they have the authorities after them, especially because Darren decided to save the person he loved. So yeah, I think the Adrian thing is going to continue, so let's see how that plays out. Because you just know that because of authorities getting involved, Joshua is going to come after Darren, and Joshua is going to be like, Darren, you should have killed Adrian, and because of your weakness, now we are in so much trouble. So let's see what happens there. Then we get to see Joshua talking to this repairman about his bowling alley needing repairs. I think the pipes have broken or something. And yeah, you can tell that Joshua and the rest of the Codys are short on cash. And while he's talking to the repairman, Peter comes in, and Peter is like, hey, I wouldn't take this job to Smurf, but I have a new job for you. And Joshua is like, why aren't you doing this yourself? And it turns out that the job that Pete is giving Joshua, it deals with searching for this crashed smuggling plane. And yeah, there's something in the plane. Apparently it's money in there, and Pete's guys can't get to it because it requires mountain climbing, rock climbing, and all of that stuff, which the Codys will be able to do. And Pete is like, you know what, you have to act fast because it's finders keepers. Other people are going to go searching for the plane, so you have to talk to your uncles and get this job done. we go back to the flashback, and Smurf is talking to this rich guy, and I think his name is Marcus. I'm not really sure. And Marcus is showing her around the house. He's talking about how he has these expensive rugs, expensive statues and everything. And Marcus tries to lead Smurf away into his bedroom, and Smurf is like, you know what, maybe later. And yeah, Marcus doesn't appreciate being rejected, and he's like, you know what, Smurf, I know women like you, they are up high on their egoistical horse, and they kind of get everything they want, but you know what, your beauty isn't going to last. And what are you going to do then? And Smurf is like, Marcus, you're boring me. And this is where Marcus decides to take out the gun and threaten Smurf. And you know, Smurf being the type of character she is, she's like, Marcus, what are you going to do about this? You're going to shoot me? And Marcus is like, yeah, I'm going to shoot you. And Smurf is like, you know what, then just shoot me. And yeah, Marcus is trying to threaten Smurf, and it's not working, and Pamela comes in, and Pamela is like, you know what, Smurf, we need to leave. And Marcus is like, yup, get this crazy woman out of my party. And as they're walking away, Smurf is like, you know what, Marcus, so you know, in the future, if you really are going to shoot someone, make sure that you unlock the safety first. But yeah, you can tell that Smurf doesn't have time for men like Marcus, who are all about getting what they want and acting out when they get rejected. And yeah, that's just the type of woman that Smurf is. So Pamela and Smurf walk away. Then we cut to Craig coming home, and Ren is like, you know what, I'm grateful for you checking in once in a while. And she's being very sarcastic. And Craig is like, hey, I'm trying to do the best for our family, for you and for our son. He sits on the sofa. And this is where Ren is like, hey, Craig, what happened with your mother's will? And Craig is like, you don't want to know. But Ren is like, yup, I want to know. And yeah, the two start making out. And I'm kind of surprised that we're 2 episodes in and we don't have an actual very intimate R-rated scene yet, which, you know what, I'm okay with it. I wasn't a fan of those scenes per se. I'm more interested in the story, but let's see what happens in the upcoming episodes. So we cut to the bar again, and Deran is moping around. He's remembering Adrian, and he's looking at old footage of Adrian qualifying for competitions and winning competitions. And I really have to applaud Jake Weary for how he acted in this scene. He's getting all teary-eyed, and yeah, he still loves Adrian a whole lot. And I'm like, Deran, what did you think was going to happen when Adrian was going to go away? Did you really think that the authorities were going to forget that he even existed and he was helping? Basically, that the authorities were using Adrian to get to the Cody family, like, and helping them with all of the drug deals that happen in Oceanside. Of course, the authorities were going to come after you and your family. But anyway, Joshua ends up messaging Deran, and he's like, we need to meet at the house, so come on over. While that's happening, Pope decides to go to the burial site, and I was like, wait, so Pope is going to bury the ashes himself? So yeah, he starts crying, he starts digging into Smurf's plot with his bare hands, and yeah, Pope needs help. Then we see Craig and Deran talking to Joshua at the house, and Joshua is like, where's Pope? And Craig is like, I haven't seen him since morning. So this is where Joshua tells Craig and Deran about the job that Pete gave him, about this crashed plane and how they need to act quickly, otherwise someone else is going to get to it first. And Deran is like, you know what, Joshua, I'll talk to Pope, and if Pope is in, we're in. Then we follow Deran back to the house he shared with Adrian, and yeah, he is missing him terribly. Deran needs to move on. Of course, he's going to continue loving Adrian, but he really needs to move on. He opens up the fridge, and the food has rotted away, and I'm like, Deran, you need to clean up this house. So this is where Deran is basically burning everything off his ex. I'm not really sure if you can call Adrian his ex per se, because he had to let him go to save his life, and they still love each other, so it's complicated. And there was a scene in the bedroom where Deran was pulling out Adrian's shirts, takes out one shirt and he sniffs it, and I'm like, oh, like that scene really got to me. You can tell that Deran is love struck when it comes to Adrian, which is very understandable. So he ends up piling everything of Adrian's on the ground, clothes, trophies, old pictures, and he decides to burn it all up. And I'm like, okay, Deran, you couldn't do that outside. Why don't you burn the entire house while you're at it? So yeah, he's burning everything up, which is basically supposed to give him closure, but I highly doubt it. I still think that he won't be able to move away from Adrian just like that. Like, burning stuff, if you really love a person, burning their stuff isn't really going to help matters. So let's see what the writers have decided to do. And because Deran is up all in his feels, he decides to go to Greg because that's the only person he can turn to for support. And he's like, Greg, let's go surfing. And Greg is like, are you crazy? It's the middle of the night. And Deran is like, no, we'll attach these little portable lights to the surfboards. We'll be all right. Just come. And Greg understands that his little brother needs him. And Greg is like, you know what? Let's go. Then we get a flashback and Pamela and Smurf are back from the party and Andrew is still up. He's watching TV and Pamela is like, you know what, Andrew? If you want pancakes in the morning, you need to go and lie down. And Andrew is like, okay, I will. And you can see that on the table, Andrew has even placed all of his toys in a particular manner. So yeah, this kid has issues, which we all knew that he didn't get the help that he needed. And that's how he ended up growing up into the adult version of Pope that we know. So Pamela, after Andrew goes to sleep, Pamela decides to sit next to Smurf and she's like, Smurf, what the heck did you do? It was very important for me to come off as a legit professional during that party tonight, but you ruined it. And Pamela is worried about Smurf. She's like, Smurf, what's happening to you? You need to figure out what you want to do in your life. And Smurf is like, you know what, Pamela, I'm not really sure what's happening to me. And Pamela is like, well, you need to figure it out quickly because those two young kids, they need you. So I am interested in seeing what Smurf decides to do next. And then the episode shows Pope back at the house. You can see ash on his clothes, the bag of ashes next to his feet, and the entire swimming pool has ash in it. So I think that Pope decided to basically spread Smurf's ashes in the pool because of some sentimental value to the house. He's like, you know what, this house is Smurf's home and this is where she will be buried. This is where her ashes will be laid to rest. And I think that now that he has done this is going to help motivate Pope to stand up to Pamela. And he's like, you know what, Pamela? My mom's ashes are spread in the swimming pool. So you aren't taking this house away from us. I think that's where the story is going. I could be wrong, but I'm like, really, Pope? Spreading the ashes in the swimming pool? Really? You couldn't think of putting them in a flower pot or something? But yeah, this is where the episode ends. I will be doing a written review of this for the Geekery. The link to the review will be down in the comment section below. Let me know what you thought of Animal Kingdom Season number 5, episode number 2. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the Deran and Adrian scenes and him trying to get over Adrian. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how the authorities are going to keep messing with the Cody family. And of course, Joshua is really going to come after Deran because of how he ended up handling the Adrian situation. Anyway, and of course, I'm excited to see the Codys meeting a grown-up Pamela. Let me know what you thought of the episode down in the comment section below. And until next time, stay happy, stay safe, stay blessed. See you guys later. Bye.